Welcome to my podcast, where we are going to talk about a lifestyle with dogs and throw in a few life lessons along the way. Whether you're a hound hunter, bird dog enthusiast, running setters, pointers, retrievers, or a flat-out running dog junkie, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, a certified law enforcement canine trainer with over 3 decades of personal and professional training and handling experience. It's time for me to pay it forward. So grab your leads, lace up those boots, and come and join me on this lifelong process of teaching, training, and learning. Are you looking to unlock your dog's full potential and give them the best nutrition possible for peak performance? Then look no further. Inukshuk has what you're looking for. Inukshuk's nutrient-dense formulas are crafted to keep your dog's energy high and performance top-notch. Packed with premium proteins and essential fats, Inukshuk delivers the balanced nutrition your dog needs to thrive. From hunting dogs to police canines, Inukshuk is trusted by professionals. Give your dog the power of peak performance with Inukshuk Professional Dog Food. Welcome to What's Up Wednesday, the podcast for every hunter who's ever followed a good-nosed hound through the woods. I'm Heath Hyatt, your host, and each week we dive into tips, tickles, and tricks to turn a hound into a hunting machine. Whether you're just getting started or you've logged hundreds of miles with your pack, remember there's always something in here for you. So let's get into it. Before we start today's podcast, I am going on a rant, like a full-blown tyrant rant. And if this is you, please, for the love of Pete, stop. Just stop. Look, the left lane is not a cozy lounge for your casual Sunday sightseeing. It is the passing lane. It's the Autobahn of American highways, the fast track. It's the place where legends go to take over minivans on 62 and the 65. I repeat, it is not the proper venue for your midlife meditation session behind the wheel of your beige Camry. You know who you are. You drift over there, you crank up your best of your Eagles playlist, and suddenly you decide the left lane is your new form of home. Meanwhile, a convoy of increasing unhinged commuters behind you, performing synchronized eye rolls, praying for a divine intervention, or at least a decent opening to pass on the right, which is illegal, by the way, but desperate times call for desperate measures. You're out there blocking traffic like you're guarding the gates of Mondor. And when someone flashes your lights at you, you look in your mirror with that, "What? I'm doing the speed limit" face. Buddy, this isn't about the speed limit. It's about the flow of traffic. And you are the human equivalent of a shopping cart with a bad wheel, just slightly in the way of everybody's day. So please, for the love of asphalt and everybody's high blood pressure, keep it to the right, except to pass. The left lane is not a lifestyle. It's a brief, beautiful place to visit, to pass someone, and leave gracefully. That's my rant for today. I'm going to tell you, the last couple of weeks, I've ran into so many people that just stay in the left lane. There's nobody in the right lane. In fact, I pulled up to a red light at 2 different intersections. 2, 3, 4 cars in the left lane. No one in the right lane. No one. I don't understand what people's thought process is. The left lane is to pass only. The right lane is to drive in. Left lane's a passing lane. So people get with it. Get with it. All right, let's get back to the podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different, and I know the last two have been a little bit different. We went off script a little bit. But because of the last two is how we arrived at today's podcast. So it's going to be a little bit more personal. I want to talk about something that's shaped who I am. It's changed how I see the world, and it's introduced me to some of the finest people that walk this planet Earth. And I'm talking about hound hunting, but more specifically, how dogs have opened up doors in my life that I didn't even know existed. An example is because of a relationship that started in 1997 at a little old Roach Motel in Pomeroy, Ohio, has brought me to where I am today is doing this podcast. It's because of a relationship that was built back then. So it's kind of where I'm at with it. Now, if you're a houndsman or a houndswoman, you already know there's something special about it. But for the folks who don't, I want to paint a picture, not just of the chase, but the community of friendships and the lessons that come with it. I didn't grow up thinking I'd be a hound guy. In fact, it was kind of the opposite. I grew up on the creeks, fishing all summer. We lived literally, our yard butted up to Wolf Creek. So me and my brother, as soon as school was out, we were from daylight till dusk, we were in the creeks fishing. And I loved to be in the woods. I got my first gun when I was 10 years old. It was a 20 Remington 20 gauge. Still have that gun. And I fell in love with bow hunting. A lot of people don't know that, but I fell in love with bow hunting. And bow hunting and turkey hunting, spring gobbler specifically, was my two go-tos. They were that's what I love to do. So being a hound guy was never a thought. I thought hounds were just dogs that made a lot of noise and smelled bad. My granddad had them out behind the house. We lived literally right beside my great-grandparents, and my great-granddad had hounds. And it just so happens that my bedroom window backed up to the dog lot, whatever you want to call it back then. Grandpa always kept 2 or 3 dogs around, and in the summertime we had no air conditioning. You put the windows up, and them dogs would howl and bark, and it was just more of an aggravation for me. But one day, and I can remember this day very clear, through acquaintances that I'd made, we had shot a bear on some hunting lease that we had. One of my buddies did, not me. And I called a guy to come and track it for us because we couldn't find it. And the next day, you've heard the story before, he rolls in, and this big black 250 Ford diesel, and dogs hanging out of every hole in it. And as we walked up an old logging road and around the ridge and into the little hollow where we had last saw that bear, it became very evident then that those dogs knew something that I didn't. And it became evident that they were going to get ready. They were telling a story that we can't see with our eyes, but they can only tell it through their nose. And it didn't take long for me to get hooked. But I love the outdoors. I love to hunt. I love to be in the woods. And something that a lot of deer hunters come into a crossroads with, are you a still hunter? Do you like to put up a tree stand, crawl up in a tree stand and sit all day? Or do you like to spot and stalk? I can't sit still. I just can't. I've got to, I want to know what's on the other side of the hill. And when I get over there, I want to know what's on the other side of that hill. And then, I find a good spot and I'm like, oh, well, what's up there? So I'm continuously moving. It's hard for me to sit still. So as this journey continued with me, it fit right into how I am. So You know, the first time I heard those dogs strike a track, it clicked. It wasn't just a noise, it was music. Organized chaos, right? A language that I didn't understand yet, but desperately wanted to learn. And that day, I met people that become more than buddies, they become family. And that first hunt opened the first door, not just to hound hunting, but to a lifestyle, a mindset, and as some call it, a tribe. You know, I have a nickname for my group. I will not repeat on this podcast, but yeah. So, and you know, there's something funny about dog folks. They'll give you the shirt off their back, the last biscuit out of the cooler, and still apologize for not offering more. You know, I've sat on tailgates at 3 a.m., 3 p.m. with people I just met either that night or that day, talking about dogs, life, family, everything in between. And by the end of that day or night, it feels like you've known them forever because you've shared something with them. And it doesn't matter where you come from. No. When I was hunting the hunts and to today, bear hunting, we've got farmers, mechanics, teachers, we've got doctors, we've got vets. Like, all of us come from a different walk of life, but yet we're tied together by this one thing, and it's the love of the hound. And somehow these dogs just have a way of bringing the right kind of people together. You start off talking about a cold trail or a young pup's progress or papers. And the next thing you know, you're helping each other move, fix each other's trucks, or standing beside each other at weddings or funerals. And there's a bond in the hound world that's hard to describe unless you've lived it. And it's built on long days, long nights, dirty boots, lost signals, and the sweet sound of that locate echoing through the hills. The dogs themselves have taught me more about life than I ever expected. A good hound will show you what persistence looks like. When the track gets cold, when the trail winds through the nastiest briars, swamps, cliffs, ledges, that dog doesn't quit. He figures it out. There's a life lesson right there. When things get tough, you don't just throw in the towel. You put your nose down and you keep working. I've learned patience too. Because let's be honest, dogs don't care about your schedule. They'll decide when to strike, when to bay, and sometimes when to make you hike 10 miles through the brush to find them. That's also common. And every single time, you come out with a story, a memory, a lesson. You've learned to trust them. You've learned that sometimes the best thing you can do is step back and let them work. And that's not just as bad. That's not a bad philosophy for life in general. Give people and dogs, give them the space to do what they want to do, what they're born to do. If you'd have told me back before I got into this that I'd end up traveling across the states, meeting folks that I'd only known through message boards, Facebook groups, and get invited to go into homes of total strangers who treated me like kin, I wouldn't have believed you. And I just told you about my trip out west, where one of my good friends I hadn't seen in over 10 years hands me the keys to his truck, gives me a gun, backpack, cooler. What else you need, Heath? Anything else you can think of? If not, we'll round it up. And then I drive 4.5 hours to go to a cabin to stay and hunt with people that I have met through messaging, through this podcast, who treated me like family. But the hounds have opened up these doors. The chase of a bear in the mountains, the coons in the cornfields and the river bottoms, and even cats out of New Mexico on that dry ground. Every single trip started because of dogs, but ended up being about the people. It's led me to some of the best conversations in my life. Sitting around the fire, swapping eyes like we did last night, telling stories, dogs sleeping at your feet, stars overhead. The best part is no cell service. When I go to areas where I have no cell service, there's no better way to disconnect. No noise except the occasional bark echoing through the hills. There's a peace in that simplicity. And it's something that I wouldn't trade for anything. And I think at the heart of hound hunting, and the reason it opens doors, is that it's about a connection. Connection to the land, to the dogs, to each other. It's about being part of something that's older and bigger than yourself. Every time those hounds strike, you carry a tradition that has been around for generations. You're a part of a lineage of folks who value grit, loyalty, and the thrill of a chase. And in a world that feels more disconnected every day, where most people's adventures are scrolling through their phones, this life keeps us grounded. It keeps us real. So to every houndsman and houndswoman out there, thank you for welcoming me, teaching me, showing me what community really means. To the dogs, for being the bridge between people who I might have never met otherwise. You're the reason we're all here together. And to anyone listening who's never been a part of it, go find somebody that runs hounds. Ask to tag along. You might get muddy, dirty, tired, but you'll get hooked. Because I can tell you this for sure. Hound hunting opened doors for me that I never knew existed. And on the other side of every one of them was a friend that I hadn't met yet. So thank you to the community, the connections, and the dogs, which brings us all together. And thank you for listening. If this episode hits home with you, share it with a buddy who knows that sweet sound of that hound's cry. Until next time, keep your boots muddy, your dogs honest, and your friendship strong. We'll see you at the next tree.
Tailgate drops before the light, coolers packed and the rig sitting right, tracking collars charged, beeping green, boots in the bed and the rifle's clean. Dog box rattling, engines hum, we're chasing bear till the day is done. Old ring barking like he knows what's near, nose to the wind, tail full of cheer. From the Virginia mountains to the Carolina clay, we're burning fuel in miles each day. Every turn's another tale, through mountain mist and paper trails. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York forest, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Rest stops few, the roads are long, but the fire in our hearts still burns strong. Wisconsin mornings cutting crisp and clear, Canada's wildwoods drawing near. Still got states we ain't run, but that hound dog fever won't let us quit. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New Gas station coffee, Alpha XL on the dash. Another back road, another bear track. Friends made fast and stories told slow. Under stars where only hunters go. We see the sunrise gold in Canadian air, and it sets on a trail down in Appalachia. Packing steel and leather, grit and care. We're built for the road and chasing bear. So load the dogs and slam the gate. There's a trail ahead, we won't be late. From dawn to dusk, we're always there. Chasing daylight, chasing them bears.